In the heart of England's past stands a dynasty built on ambition, fear, power, and secrets carefully hidden for centuries. The Tudor dynasty ruled from 1485 to 1603, 118 years of political brilliance, religious transformation, silent executions, forbidden rituals, shadowy alliances, and mysteries that historians still struggle to explain. Tonight, we journey into the darkest corners of Tudor history, into the secrets the crown never wanted revealed. This is the dark secrets of the Tudor dynasty. Henry VII's rise didn't begin with triumph, but with fear. His claim to the throne was so weak that many nobles whispered the Tudors had no right to rule at all. So, how did a man with a shaky claim build a dynasty that would last over a century? He did it in the shadows. Henry VII wasn't a warrior king. He was a master of secrets. His reign began with a purge, not of soldiers on a battlefield, but of documents in the royal archives. Any scroll, letter, or record that questioned his lineage simply disappeared. He negotiated in secret, bribing powerful families with land and titles to secure their loyalty, all while his spies watched their every move. He even rewrote history, commissioning chroniclers to paint his victory at the Battle of Bosworth as a divine judgment, a glorious start to a blessed reign, hiding the messy, treacherous reality of his ascent. He ruled not with a sword, but with a web of secrets and fear. But the fear didn't just come from Henry's spies. Few people know this, but medieval England believed the Tudors were a dynasty born under a cursed star. Astrologers, who held immense influence in the royal court, warned Henry that his bloodline would bring both greatness and tragedy. Prophecies from the time spoke of a dragon rising from Wales, the Tudor emblem, that would unite the kingdom, but also consume its own children. These weren't just peasant superstitions. The Tudors took them seriously. Look closely at their coins and crowns, and you'll find hidden symbols, roses intertwined with thorns. Crowns topped with dragons instead of crosses. These were occult talismans, meant to ward off the very doom the stars had foretold. The foundation of the Tudor dynasty wasn't just built on political cunning. It was built on a secret war against fate itself. If his father was a master of secrets, Henry VIII was a king consumed by them. He is often shown as a powerful, confident ruler. But inside the palace, he was a man crippled by paranoia. He created secret chambers within his castles, not for treasure, but for private meetings where no one could overhear. He established something his inner circle called the King's Dark Room, a private tribunal, where enemies of the state vanished without a public trial, their fates decided by Henry alone. His network of spies was legendary, monitoring everyone, even his most loyal nobles and his own wives. Every letter was read, every conversation reported. He was terrified of the prophecies that haunted his father, believing any sign of opposition was a fulfillment of the curse. This fear led to silent assassinations, where rivals simply disappeared, and private executions away from the public eye. His own royal physicians were ordered to hide his deteriorating health, presenting a facade of strength while the king was secretly ailing. Henry VIII ruled through an iron will, but that will was forged in a fire of constant, secret terror. This paranoia bled directly into the tragic saga of his 6 queens. We know the rhyme, but the truth is far darker than a simple story of a king's fickle heart. These women were not just wives, they were political pawns in a deadly game, and their fates were sealed by manipulation and secrets. For Catherine of Aragon, her loyal letters to her nephew, the Holy Roman Emperor, mysteriously vanished, leaving her isolated and unable to defend herself. Within Boleyn, the charges of treason were likely built on forged evidence, rushed through an illegal trial in a matter of days. Her crime wasn't adultery. It was failing to produce a male heir and making powerful enemies. Jane Seymour, often called the favorite wife, died shortly after giving birth to the future king. But whispers at court suggested her death was suspiciously convenient for factions who wanted to control the new heir. And if Cleves' escape was a political miracle, her portrait was deliberately made unflattering to give Henry an excuse to annul the marriage. but she cleverly negotiated a life of wealth and freedom instead of facing the axe. The young Catherine Howard was a scapegoat, a victim of rival court factions who fed the king information about her past to bring down her powerful family. And finally, Catherine Parr, the survivor, narrowly escaped an arrest warrant for her reformist faith, a plot orchestrated by her enemies that she only discovered through a loyal informant. The stories of the six queens are not stories of romance. They are case studies in how the Tudor machine destroyed those who stood in its way. While the court was a viper's nest of political intrigue, England was tearing itself apart over religion. But while people argued about faith in the streets, inside the palace, the Tudors lived a double life. Henry VIII, who broke from Rome, secretly kept Catholic confessors. His daughter, Mary I, held clandestine Catholic masses during her Protestant brother's reign. Even Elizabeth I, the great Protestant queen, had to navigate a court filled with secret Catholics. Spies weren't just looking for political traitors, they were looking for religious ones. Secret chapels were built behind hidden panels. Coded messages were passed in prayer books. The religious war wasn't just fought in churches. It was fought in the whispers and shadows of the royal court itself. After Henry's death, the crown passed to his children, each inheriting a kingdom built on secrets. Mary I is remembered as Bloody Mary, but her private diaries reveal a woman terrified of betrayal, haunted by the ghosts of her mother, and plagued by prophetic visions she believed were messages from God. She saw enemies everywhere because, in her court, they truly were everywhere. Then came Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, who elevated secrecy to an art form. She inherited a bankrupt, divided nation and held it together for over 40 years using one of the most sophisticated spy networks the world had ever seen. Her spy master, Sir Francis Walsingham, was a genius of espionage. He employed cryptographers to create and break codes, ran a network of invisible female spies who were dismissed as mere servants, and used double agents to feed misinformation to England's enemies. Letters were written in invisible ink, messages were hidden in the heels of shoes, and secret prisons were established to interrogate traitors. Elizabeth's spies were so effective that modern intelligence agencies still studied their tactics. She defeated the Spanish Armada not just with ships, but with information. Her empire wasn't just built on land, it was built on a secret empire of spies. The secrets of the Tudors were even built into the walls of their palaces. Hampton Court, the Tower of London, surmised these were not just homes, they were labyrinths. They were filled with secret passageways for guards to spy on courtiers, hidden rooms where plots were hatched, and escape tunnels in case of attack. Architectural records from the time are mysteriously incomplete, with entire wings of palaces simply gone from the blueprints. These were spaces designed for secrets, and many of them remain undiscovered to this day. In 1603, the Tudor dynasty ended with the death of Elizabeth I. It didn't end in a grand battle or a glorious celebration. It ended quietly, because every secret, every lie, every ritual, every betrayal had finally taken its toll. The dynasty had produced no more heirs. The curse the astrologers had spoken of a century earlier had, in its own way, come true. The crown survived, the world moved on, but the shadows of the Tudors and the dark secrets they took to their graves still whisper to us today. Thank you for joining this journey into the hidden world of the Tudors. If you want more powerful royal mysteries and forgotten history, subscribe and stay with us. New secrets await.